What is going on, guys? Thank you so much for stopping in. If you saw the thumbnail, you already know I went down to South America and I took a little crash here and I slammed him into a wall, breaking him into a million little pieces, just like my heart. Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to explain exactly what happened at Crash, where I was, what happened, why everything occurred, and what was the effects of it after the fact of crashing your drone in South America. I'm sure that you guys want to know. If you clicked on the video, this is something that you guys want to get into. Flying your drone down to South America is absolutely unbelievable, but let's get down to the dirty deets and kind of jump into everything that happened. So without further ado, let's go straight into it. Hit him with the intro. Bam! All right, guys, let's not waste any more time. I don't want to waste any time with you guys. Let's just jump straight into it. So, where was I? What happened with Little Crash here? So, what I did was I went on vacation down into South America, and I went to the very, very lovely city of Buenos Aires, Argentina. If you guys ever get a chance to go, I would very highly recommend going to Buenos Aires. It is an absolutely amazing city. The architecture, the colors, the people, the culture, absolutely bellissimo. Unbelievable. South America as a whole, if you get to go down there anywhere, it is absolutely amazing. It is a droner's paradise. They have everything down there, basically, that you could find. So when I was down there, I went down there for about 4 days. I actually got some absolutely unbelievable footage that you guys are going to see because I made a whole bunch of videos. To all the Argentinians out there, I promise I'm going to make it up to you. I'm going to make a number of different videos with the footage that I got, and it's going to be amazing. I promise I will make it up to you. I wanted to make it up to you for crashing this drone into one of your, very important landmarks. I'm not really going to lie about that one. There's really no way to sugarcoat that one, but... So let's get down to what happened. So I was there for a number of days. I was down in Argentina for a number of days. I actually got a pretty good amount of footage. Some of the most amazing footage that I actually even got in my whole trip in South America was actually in Buenos Aires. It was absolutely unbelievable. I got to fly it around for a good amount of time and got a really good amount of footage around the town. I was scoping the town, and sure enough, there is a very famous landmark in Argentina or in Buenos Aires. Now, do not get mad at me. I will put the formal name down below, but I refer to it as the English Clock Tower. I know it has a formal name. Please don't get mad at me. Like I said, I'm going to put it down below. I know they don't like referring to it as the English Clock Tower because they do have a little bit of beef with the English, but we're not going to get into that. But what it is that regardless is that this clock tower is absolutely stunning. The area that it was in is absolutely stunning. So obviously I had to take my drone and I had to get this thing and get a lot of footage of it because I thought it was absolutely unbelievable and kind of show it off for the beauty of the city and the beauty of the actual tower itself. So when I got there, the actual location is absolutely stunning. If you're going to go to Buenos Aires, Argentina, you're most likely even going to go take a look at this thing. It's absolutely unbelievable. Not only that, there's a station right by it, and the whole location around that area or within a couple miles of it is absolutely unbelievable. So what did I do? I took a little crash here, and I got down there, and I was very, very excited like I was the whole time. I was a little bit nervous because you get so nervous when you're kind of down there. You want to just make sure that everything's perfect. You don't want to make anyone mad, and you want to get all the footage that you can. So basically, what I did was I went down there, got a look at the clock tower, kind of scoped things out around, and it was absolutely beautiful. There was a little mound or a little hill that was right down by the actual tower. I planted myself on it, basically launched my drone, and I got a lot of good footage actually going up, which I will show on the video. But as you can see, the clock tower itself was absolutely beautiful. The time of day was getting towards magic hour, so the colors were just basically blasting off this clock tower. Absolutely gorgeous. I cannot even say that enough. But I got some decent footage up going up to the tower because basically what happened was anytime I was in Buenos Aires or anytime I was in anywhere, since it's so beautiful, all I do is basically as I'm launching, I hit record and I just record everything and then basically just sort it out later. So I took it up. got above it, basically kind of circled around above it just to see the space and to see what was all worth recording and taking a look at. And then I kind of came down and looked at the actual tower. So as any droner would do is that they saw the tower, and the first thing in your mind as a drone guy is basically, I have to spotlight this thing. This thing is absolutely fucking gorgeous. I'm going to spotlight the shit out of it. So sure enough, what I did was I went on it, clicked on it, selected it out, and I was spotlighting this tower. So I was basically coming along. I had it in the center of the frame, and I was circling around, as you can see. And what was actually happening, and the reason that I actually crashed the drone, was because as I was spotlighting, the drone was moving back and back farther. It wasn't staying in the same spot. And as I was going, it was moving around and moving back. And basically, a little bit of chaos ensued. But obviously, I had the drone within sight the whole time, and I was watching it. Now, I actually did have the drone in sight, and I was actually able to see it. But what happened was that as it was coming along, I actually thought it was higher than it was, and there was actually a tree that came along. And so right as it was spotlighting, basically what happened is that I tried to pull it up and get it out of the spotlight. As that happened, literally a huge gust of wind came, shoved it against this tree, and actually just banged it up against this this building on it. And little crash here took about an 11-story stumble all the way down this thing. As you can see, it is just not good at all. I bit the dust, and I bit it hard. Not only did I do this, but when I crashed this thing, I actually made it count really hard. So as you can see, it is just not good all around. So after this happened, I was freaking out, obviously trying to find my drone in South America. The thing that I wanted to make sure the most is that I did not hurt anyone, and nothing actually happened to anyone. I didn't want to get anyone hurt. I knew the drone was pretty much done after it, but what happened was that I was on my GPS, I saw it, and I was basically running across. All the people around it basically saw me get up and just dead out sprint away, which is pretty funny in and of itself. Basically, anyone who was around it basically saw me just get up and start out sprint all the way around. I was on my GPS, and I was kind of looking at it, trying to find it. It was pretty close, and I knew that it was in a certain direction. I was following the GPS. Not only was the GPS on in the little corner, but I could basically see the drone itself there. And what happened to it is that physically, all the arms had broken off. The shell of the actual drone had broken off. The gimbal did not actually completely separate off, but only one half of it did. So it was still basically struggling for life. Again, I don't want to talk about it. It basically pains me to say it, but there are a couple cool little marks. I got a mark here and a mark here that are basically the battle scars of a little crash here. But the actual drone itself was absolutely totaled. But as I was saying, is that on my screen, I could actually see that. And as I was approaching the drone, I was coming up close to it on my GPS. I saw the guys actually, you can see them, is that there was a bunch of people basically physically picked it up, waved at it, and then I ended up getting it back. But the Argentinians, again, I can't, give it to them enough, is that they are very, very kind people. They're absolutely amazing people. They are so nice, so generous. They basically gave it to me back right away, and they were just kind of laughing. No one got hurt, which is very thankful. But on top of that is that whole day was basically, I was just completely and utterly crushed. I'm not really going to beat around the bush. Very, very sad day. So I was basically on the first part of my vacation, and I was going to a couple other places. The next place that I was going to was Brazil, and it was like, oh no, come on. And because Brazil is like again, it's like a droner's paradise, and I was actually going there for Carnival, and I wanted my drone very badly, but it was completely broken up. Now, I do have the DJI protection package, but the thing is that you can't actually submit into DJI unless you're actually in the country in which you registered the drone in, which I was not in. So the only option that I had was basically I had to pay for it. Now, I went to the DJI store in Buenos Aires, which is actually absolutely amazing. The mall in Buenos Aires is unbelievable. But basically I walked in and presented it to them, and both the guys just immediately busted out laughing at me. I showed them the footage, and they just started laughing. But they were very endearing, and basically I asked them, or anyone that I asked in this whole sequence of events, was anyone I asked that was a professional that was fixing at drones had said that this happens all the time and people crash their drones all the time. The most important thing is that I actually had physically recovered the drone, which a lot of people actually do not, is that they fly it over water and they completely lose it, or they get it lost somewhere where it's just too far away. And in all honesty, that's actually one of the reasons why you need to keep it in sight, which we always do, by the way, to the FAA watching. But with this is that when I took it in, they told me that they could fix it, but they wouldn't be able to fix it in time before I left. So unfortunately, I didn't have any other option but to try to fix it when I was in Brazil. Now, I was mulling it around for a little bit because fixing things in Brazil was incredibly expensive. And the place that I was actually at in Brazil does not have a lot of access to drones. Therefore, it was very expensive for me to do that. But on my way to Rio de Janeiro, I cannot even stress it enough. I just want to roll my eyes because the place that I actually got it fixed in was absolutely unbelievable. And not only that, is that on the internet, there is barely any actual drone footage of this location. They do have it when you get there at the drone store, but actually on the internet to kind of show people this place's beauty and everything that it has to offer is very limited on the internet. And I was very excited, especially the fact that the kind of videos that I do and everything like that is that I could have made a video that absolutely smashed it out of the park given this location. And on top of that, now I did end up getting Crash here fixed up and I took them back out. I got them fixed up just in time for Rio de Janeiro, which is, oh my God, unbelievable. If you ever get a chance, definitely check it out. I love Rio de Janeiro. It's probably my favorite city in the entire world as far as anything, but especially for drones, is that I was very excited. Now, as you can see here, I got unbelievable footage of Ipanema and Copacabana. I flew my drone around on the beach. Now, be very careful when you fly your drone on the beach. Do not just take it from me. Don't just go out there and fly your drone around the beach. Is Brazil dangerous? The answer is it is a little bit, but the beaches are basically hot spots for petty theft. The reason I did this, number one, is because I found out that Carnival had a little bit better. It was not as dangerous during Carnival, especially on the beach where I was at, and I had a number of friends with me to kind of look at it. Once I got this up in the air, I don't think people were really paying attention to it, but that is not the only reason to do it. In all honesty, you would actually be relatively okay, in my opinion. Just be very careful. But the thing that you really need to be careful of in Rio de Janeiro is helicopters, is because as you can see on the videos that there's helicopters flying basically everywhere around Rio de Janeiro. They're doing all kinds of helicopters tours. And not only that, is that there's a helicopter that flies back and forth on the beach to make sure that everyone's safe and no one gets basically taken out of the beach into the tide and taken away so that they can keep things safe. So the helicopters fly very low. Now, in South America, I am not an expert in South America, but when I went to the DJI store, I explained to them what was going on, that I was concerned that I crashed my drone, and they had basically given me a heads up in Brazil and also in Argentina that there is very loose restrictions when it comes to drone flight. Basically, all you need to do is register a drone. Now, do not take that as gospel, but that is basically what they told me because of my concerns. Now, with that as well, is that the reason I brought that up is because I was talking about the FAA and I was like, well, I got to do this and I got to do that. And in America, it does this. And basically, these guys were just laughing in my face because South America does not have those things in the that we have with the FAA, because the FAA is incredibly over the top in America. And that's basically all I'm going to say about that. But that is just something to take into consideration. But if you guys are ever interested, I would definitely highly recommend taking your drone down to South America and checking out. Just make sure that you guys are being very, very safe. Now, as far as the experience as a whole, the footage that I got, I am so thankful that I got the footage that I did when it comes to the clock tower, when it comes to Buenos Aires, because I at least got some footage. Now, this footage itself is absolutely unbelievable. Was it worth the crash? That's definitely a good question. Is that, in my opinion, I would say yes. I'm going to say it was worth the crash because of this footage, but I did miss a whole lot of footage that I would have been able to get. Now, the other thing is that when I got this fixed up, I got it fixed up in Brazil, and there was a common error made where this was not actually soldered or put together correctly. And after I had launched it a number of times on Ipanema and Copacabana, luckily that did not happen there. But when I was at another location, I had launched it up and basically crashed straight down. And, I had launched it up and it crashed basically straight down, and I had lost all power on it and it wouldn't restart again. Once I got back to the States, I got everything fixed, and the guy basically around my hometown had basically given me the idea that said, hey, look, this is very common. They don't solder that in. So just double check and make sure that if you guys ever get anything fixed, that it has a warranty with it, and that comes along with it as well. I was a little upset about that because there was so much footage that I missed out on when it comes to Brazil. Now, I will, mark my words, I will go get that footage and make unbelievable videos when it comes to Brazil. I promise you, it is something that I am going to do. There is no stopping me because I'm going to get that footage of both those spots, I promise. But as far as that goes, is that is everything that I have today. I recovered Crash. Everything's good to go. I'm going to basically list those videos down below. I have unbelievable footage of Buenos Aires and some unbelievable footage of Ipanema and Copacabana, but I'm going to put those videos down below. Please check them out, or else this was just a huge waste. But I'm sure you guys are going to like them. If you guys like this video or you helped you out, like I said, I crashed my drone in South America. That's pretty much everything I got. If you guys liked the video, please like and subscribe if that's your type of thing. If not, that's cool. But at least check out the videos. I spent a lot of good time on them, and they're unbelievable footage. And you guys can see what it took to basically crash this thing into the ground. Thank you so much for stopping in. That's all I got today. Peace.